All right, we are live, but I'm going to give it just a couple of seconds to make sure that we're connected and good to go before I kick us off. All right, we should be good. Hi, my name is Amara Graham. I'm a developer advocate here at Kestra. And today joining me are some of our contributors from the community to tell a little bit about their experience, their stories. Very excited to have them today. I'll be asking them a handful of questions about their experience. But of course, if you have questions and you're interested in digging into a particular aspect, please ask those questions in the chat. But to get us started, I'm going to kick us off with a very easy question. I would love for our contributors to introduce themselves, maybe tell us who you are and where you're based.
Hello. Hey everyone, I'm Biplab Bera and I'm from India. I have been contributing to Kestra from the past few months. Before that, I have also contributed to projects like Airbyte, Glasscube, and many more. Today, I'm very excited to join you all and share my experience.
Thank you.
Hi everyone. I am Devanshu Prajapat. I'm also based in India only. Currently, I'm working in an MNC here, where I generally handles cloud ops and DevOps kind of things. So we have like kind of Kubernetes based architecture here. So I'm just doing some upgrades, migrations, and I also started contributing in Kestra like 2 or 3 months back only. Uh, and yeah, this is my first open source project.
Fantastic. Thank you both. So I'm going to dive into the questions and we'll go back and forth between each of you to share your experience. So my first question is, how did you decide what you were going to contribute first? What kind of issues were you looking for?
Okay, so whenever I am starting with a new project, I always start with good first issues. That's my go-to strategy. I look for things that I'm already familiar with on the backend side. For example, I had prior experience with GitLab API and Microsoft Graph API, so I took those plugin issues. It just makes me my contribution feels less intimidating. That will
Yeah,
be it.
with me, like since this was my first contribution only, so I just wanted to start with the things like which in which I have already in experience. So since like I have not much of experience with Java and like Kestra uses Micronaut, right? So I don't have much experience with that. So, but I am uh, doing stuff related to cloud only. So I like try to pick up the issues which are cloud related only. So like there was one plugin AWS repository there, and also there were some issues which were marked as good first issues. So yeah, so I picked one task issue basically related to AWS cloud formation stack, so which is like pretty much related to what I do in my job.
Yeah, I love that both of you mentioned the good first issues. I know a lot of open source projects follow that. They try to tag their issues so that they can be opening and welcoming to new contributors. I think that's really great. And then both of you mentioned, trying to find issues that have technology that you're familiar with. So it's something that you do in your day job or something that you've done in a past project so that you're familiar with it. You're familiar with the API so that you're not trying to learn both the source code that you want to contribute to and the API at the same time. So I think that's a really great way to look at this and a really great reminder to people who are trying to find ways to contribute for the first time that they can find those ones that are already tagged, or they can potentially find things where they're already familiar with the technology.
Yes.
Getting into kind of more of the technical side of things, um, getting your development environment set up. So, can you talk a little bit about the steps that were involved with you getting you to the point where you could test your code locally, maybe before you did your actual pull request? Just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Okay. So honestly, it was pretty straightforward. The documentation here is clear, and I could get the environment running without any major blockers. So I more on the side I work on backend and plugin development. So first we have to build the jar file using Gradle. Then we would use the Docker to make that image and build it so that I could test it locally. So that's all.
Yeah, for me, my first issue was related to AWS. So first, I need to get a AWS account so that I can test my code. Other than that, running Kestra locally, it was like same for me also. Firstly, build the jar file with the Gradle, and then just pull Kestra develop image from Docker Hub. And yeah, it is like pretty much mentioned in documentation also. And if you stuck somewhere, like we have some contributions groups where you can ask. So
Yeah, I guess we didn't mention this earlier that both of you contributed plugins, and those plugins are basically the framework for building out integrations with Kestra. So we have a plugin developer guide that kind of walks you through some of the things that the two of you were just explaining. But really great to hear that both of you had a very positive experience running Kestra locally and not having to worry about fighting that and trying to get your contribution in at the same time. I do see some people asking some questions in the chat. That's fantastic. Please continue asking those. I'm going to hold off on asking any of those questions unless they're super relevant to the one that I'm asking, but keep them coming. I can see them, and I'm very excited that we have people asking questions. Shifting a little bit here, I want to talk about maintainer support. So specifically, how did the Kestra team support you in getting started and ultimately getting your contribution merged?
Okay. The team here is incredibly supportive. Whenever I needed help, someone was always there to guide me. If you join the Slack community, Milos always welcomes you with a curated list of good first issues and helpful guides. That's really sets the tone for any new contributors. One time, in fact, uh, one of my tests was failing in the CI. I tried many things, but nothing worked. Franco is who is in the plugin team. I hope I'm pronouncing name right.
Francois,
Came
close, but
forward
yeah.
and yeah. So he came forward and actually fixed it himself. What I'm trying to say is don't just give up easily, okay? Many people abandon peers midway, which wastes both parties' time. Instead, ask for help when you are stuck. I'm sure you will get the support you need, just like I did. They are very much helpful.
That's great.
yeah, pretty much like same for me also. Like the maintainers and reviewers are extremely supportive here. They are like quite responsive throughout your PR merging process. So like if you have there is a quite a well managed Slack community. So if you have anything, you can just ask on contributors channel. Yeah, one incident while merging one PR, I have like some issues. I am having some issues with some test cases. So Malay, I guess, if I'm right, yeah. So Malay just almost like changed my kind of refactored my code, my test cases to so that it can run properly. So yeah, even if I as I new to these whole things now, so even if I ask some silly questions or which are like not as what you can say, like So they are also like quite supportive in that also. So yeah, uh, you will definitely get a very positive environment here.
I love that both of you mentioned the support that you got. It kind of leads into the next question about, once you felt your PR was ready, what was the review process like? I heard both of you say that it was collaborative, that they're, very responsive, but any other details that you want to share there about specifically the review?
Okay, so once I got my PR ready, the reviewers went through the code thoroughly, checking best practices, logic, and actually testing that the implementation works. They really care about delivering quality for their users. The review process can take some time, which is usual, but the maintainers try to make it as smooth as possible, and you will learn a lot from their feedback.
Mm, Yeah, like as I mentioned that it was just my first PR in open source. So when I raised PR, so there were like 13, 14 comments on one file only. But yeah, the maintainers and reviewers are like very supportive. So I have made like a lot of kind of, you can say, silly mistakes in every other or two lines. Some of the code are not up to like standard guidelines which is mentioned by Kestra. So uh, yeah, so like in every comment I we go back and forth, like what can I improve, then they suggested something like this, you can do this, and yeah, after like 14 15 comments, it went through it.
I saw a couple questions about, what skills do I need to learn so that I can do my first contribution, or how much Java knowledge is required. And we talked about this a little bit earlier, so I want to kind of go back to that really quickly. It really depends. When we talked about earlier, finding your first contribution, looking for things that are tagged as a good first issue or good first time issue. As far as specific technical skills, each of you kind of mentioned when looking at plugins, trying to find a API or technology that you are already familiar with. So I know we didn't talk specifically about programming languages, but that's one of the things that I wanted to highlight to our viewers is the the range of issues is quite broad, the range of skills is quite broad, but as far as making your first contribution, looking for those issues that are tagged, that can be a great starting point. Um, but yeah, just wanted to touch on that because I saw a couple questions coming in on skills specifically. I want to move to like that light bulb moment. So I think this is also somewhat related to the questions that we were just answering around, what skills do I need? Like, how do I do this? Where do I start? Working with a new code base can be a bit overwhelming, but when did you hit that light bulb moment when everything started to click?
Yeah, working on a huge code base like Kestra can definitely be overwhelming at first. It was for me too. So when I'm learning anything new, it usually takes me 3 to 4 attempts to make it actually click. Something happened here also. Same by third issue, concepts like trigger logic and state management finally started making sense. That's when I felt confident.
Yeah, uh, like uh, I was like new to the whole world, so for me also it took like two to three issues for that one click, like when you start understanding whole flow, like how things are going to be rendered, how like the runtime is going to interact with the run context, how like dependency injection is working here or there, how we can test, what is Kestra's testing approach. So yeah, it took me around two or three like two or three issues for that. But yeah, like mostly I picked good first issue. So like kind of similar example was already there in Kestra already. If you are like, let's suppose, working on uh, like network file share, so some other kind of file share was already implemented. So always you can get a reference from there. So yeah.
Great, thank you. So we've talked quite a bit about like the first contribution and deciding which one to pick, what's a good one for you based on your skills and your experience. But I'm curious about the next contribution. And again, both of you said like, hey, 2 or 3 contributions, you're feeling really good about the code base, things are really clicking. So I'm really curious, like once you had your first PR merged, what made you decide to find another issue to contribute to? So what made you find that second and third one?
So I was learning so much from each contribution. Like recently, I learned about test containers from Malay. So I naturally wanted to keep going. Like it's like once you have that momentum and you are learning, picking the next issues becomes so simple. You start to see patterns, know where you can add value. It's just like that. I knew I can add more value to the next some plugins. I just go with it.
Yeah, same for me also. Like after my first PR was merged, I was like quite confident and was looking for something like similar what I can pick. So yeah, same.
It's like hearing you both say it's almost like a little bit addictive. You're like, oh, I did the first one. Now I want to do the second one, the third one. I want to find more. It's exciting in that sense too.
Mhm.
Um, can you talk maybe about like how you specifically picked the next issue that you worked on? I think both of you kind of touched on this a little bit, and maybe for the audience, both of you also wrote blogs on your experience. So I kind of know a little bit about what you contributed, but maybe talk through like the first plugin that you did a PR for, and maybe the second one, so that people can kind of hear a little bit about transitioning from that first PR, that first plugin, to the next one that you did.
Okay. So I don't actually remember the exact first PR plugin PR, but I think it was GitLab. It was pretty simple. I actually pretty simple. I just have to uh, hit some post request to get the PR descriptions and all that. Then I think I have also I also have to implement triggers. Then from that to the next another issue, I don't remember. Yeah, YouTube, yeah, it was a really great one. So I saw that YouTube is really a great platform, and it would be a great plugin if I can contribute to. It would be really useful for the folks that will be used. So I just hop in and went through the documentation, APIs, how I could do this, and then I think another challenging thing was that I have to develop trigger. I think comment trigger, if I'm not wrong. So that was all my thought process. Then one thing is, if you can see someone using someone using something you have built, someone using it and giving a good compliment, that really boosts my confidence. And some folks in the Kestra community is appreciating my work, and that really boosts me. So I just kept on from one plugin to another and kept going.
Yeah, since like I was working on cloud and DevOps currently, for my first issue, I picked like AWS cloud formation stack, where uh, like the task is related to create and delete AWS cloud formation stack. So after that, like as I mentioned that I am working on cloud and Linux and these kind of things. So there was like one plugin related to file shares. So uh, like in which it was kind of my day-to-day task in my current organization. So uh, I saw one task related to network file share. So where I have to just like create file share, delete, mount, copy, just these kind of things. So yeah, uh, actually I created a list of two or three issues. Then I went to ChatGPT and pasted three of them, and uh, just like try to understand like what can I do next, or something like that. So yeah, it was like that.
I like that. I saw another question come in, like the starting point to understand code base, any suggestions. Just wanted to reiterate most of what we've been talking about in this conversation has been around plugins and the plugin framework essentially that Kestra has. If you want a starting point specifically to developing plugins, we have a developer's guide for that. If you're looking at the Kestra code base specifically, I'm not aware that we have like a specific developer's guide, but we have some pretty good resources into understanding Kestra fundamentals and kind of diving in from there. But again, if you're looking at starting your first contribution with Kestra, we do have labels on some of those issues for a good first time issue. You can take a look at those. Those should have some pretty good context of how to get started. And just like you've been saying on this webinar, look for ones that maybe have some sort of familiarity with what you're already working with. So if you have a school project or if you have a work project, what's technology that you've already worked with so that you're not trying to learn both Kestra and a separate technology at the same time.
Yeah, there are also documentation issues. You don't need to learn Java for that. It's pretty easy. If you just want to start contributing, go with that.
Yeah, I think that's such a great point. So I didn't mention I'm pretty new to Kestra. I've only started at the company since early December, and a lot of my contributions have been in the documentation space because I'm going and reading and kind of coming at this lens from a not only a beginner but new to Kestra and saying, "Oh, this doesn't quite make sense. Let me ask some clarifying questions," and trying to make it easier for other people to work through. So thanks. Yes, that's a docs contributions are always super, super valuable as well. And maybe require less technical skills to get it merged. Speaking of maybe less technical skills, I want to talk a little bit about soft skills. Aside from your technical skills, what did this experience teach you about communication and working with people globally?
I think the biggest things I learned here is you have to be patient and the importance of helping others. So, open source is really about collaboration and communication across times and zones, cultures. So, I learned to be clear, more respectful, and supportive. This goal and these skills just go beyond coding. So, recent on in Hacktoberfest, uh, some guy named Shantos, I believe. So he was working on a Microsoft Team plugin. Okay, so he couldn't Q&A and his PR because it requires Microsoft 365 subscription. Okay, so I previously made a contribution to that repo. So he just tags me and says that, can you help me? So I thought, okay, if I have any time, I will help you. So you also have to help others Don't just be selfish, be helpful. That's it. It's all about open source. Be collaborative. That's it.
Yeah, definitely. Like this experience taught me a lot about like the importance of clear and concise communication, especially in the world of like open source collaboration and contribution. So, like, I also learned few things like how to respond constructively uh, to feedback, iterate quickly, and like ask precise questions when you stuck, right? Yeah, so working with the maintainers across all different time zones also reinforced the value of patience, empathy, and yeah, professionalism in technical discussion. So, yeah, like, in context to soft skills, I learned a lot.
I've always worked on global teams or with global companies, and I find everything that the two of you mentioned super important. And one of the things that I kind of always chuckle a little bit at is time zones. And I know for if I'm working with a lot of people who are in Europe or who are in India, I'm very careful about, oh, how fast am I going to get a response? Because maybe it's, they're overnight already or they're into their evening. And similarly with me, I was joking that I woke up this morning to a lot of emails, a lot of Slack messages because Europe and India had done a lot of work while I was sleeping. But I love the comment about, concise and clear communication. I think that's really important. I think particularly when we talk about open source contributions, everyone has a little bit different interest or goals, right? So you as an external contributor, you are not working for Kestra directly, and the people who are reviewing your PRs maybe are working for Kestra directly. So balancing the expectations, balancing the other work that people have. And I know particularly over the December holiday season, people were like, hey, my PR wasn't reviewed yet. It's like, well, some people are enjoying their holidays and they're just not online. So I think that's, it gives you that opportunity to work globally, cross time zones with people who maybe speak different languages and you're interacting in a language that maybe they don't speak natively. So being kind, being patient, being understanding, all really important and all really great soft skills to develop.
Yeah.
So we've reached the end of the questions that I wanted to make sure that we asked during our time today. I'm going to scroll up here in the chat and give people a chance to ask questions. But let's see if there's anything specific that's jumping out. Did have somebody ask earlier, can I contribute? Let me show this one. Can I contribute to Kestra? I'm exploring DevOps. I know version controlling, bash scripting, Java, Ansible. My fast answer to this is yes, absolutely. But do either of you want to kind of chime in on this specifically based on the skills or the expertise that you have?
I think,
Yeah, correct.
okay, you go first.
So me myself, like working in DevOps only, like the kind of skill set here is mentioned, it's also like same for me. So you can go like you can always contribute in Kestra. So you can like you'll got a lot of plugins related to DevOps only. You have what you say, plugin AWS, plugin Azure. You have plugin related to, I guess, some DevOps.
Scripts, plugin scripts.
As mentioned. So yeah, you can always.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the most important here is that Dhritiraj, yeah, Dhritiraj already know Java. Dhritiraj already know Java, which is the main important thing. And I think if you need anything else, you can just gradually learn along. So just go, try, fail, keep learning. That's it. That's the journey.
I think the other thing that I should mention too is on the Kestra side, you might see us doing more of an infrastructure automation push. So you may see more plugins show up that are in kind of this DevOps space. You might see more issues pop up of enhancing some of those existing plugins, things like tutorials. We were talking about docs earlier. So I think if you are in the DevOps space, know that we are a little bit more focused there than we have been in the past. We've done a lot of stuff with data engineering, but DevOps is a really interesting space for us. And so if you see things, whether it's, again, enhancing an existing plugin, maybe creating a new one, or working through some documentation in this space, I think all of that's going to be really interesting to us. So yeah, definitely a lot that you can contribute there. We had another question. I'll show it here. How much Java knowledge is required? Beeplap, you just mentioned, that the code base itself, the Kestra code base is Java, but maybe can you give like a quick summary of, how much Java knowledge was required for the PRs that you delivered?
Yeah. So when I started contributing, I didn't know much Java. Okay, I just used Java for normal object oriented programming, not much experience in development. So I just gradually learned while contributing. I would suggest same to Utkarsh. Yes, Utkarsh. So just go learn, even if you just know basic like sending HTTP request, that's also helps. There are plugins are actually doing the same. Okay, it's sending plain HTTP request, whether it's through an SDK or a client library. So just go.
It looks like, let me hide this current comment. There was another question from the same person on, does Kestra use Kubernetes K8s? And I think I can answer this very quickly. The answer is yes. You can certainly deploy Kestra with Kubernetes. I don't know if either of you have any other comments on this. I don't remember if we had talked about Kubernetes. I feel like everybody talks about Kubernetes. All good. I think we've answered quite a few of these questions, either as we were chatting, as I was asking my questions, but maybe a quick prompt to the folks that are out there watching. If you have any last minute questions, please try to get them in super fast before we wrap up. And I guess while we're potentially waiting for those questions to come in, I'll go back to the two of you and say, like, is there anything else that you wanted to share about this experience that we didn't get to touch on in the questions that I asked?
No. I think you did a pretty good job creating those questions. Hats off to you.
Well, thank you.
Did well.
Yeah, it did cover a lot of things already, I guess.
Great. And thank you both for your contributions, both, the adding new plugins, enhancing those plugins. I think all of that is really fantastic. And then thank you for sharing your experience and hopefully inspiring other people to, do that first contribution. Because I think the first one is always the hardest. And then you get an understanding of the team, you get an understanding of the process, and you do want to kind of do more. Okay, so I see somebody asking about a job. I'm going to skip that one because I don't know off the top of my head. You can certainly look at our careers page, but I'm not up to speed on exactly who we are hiring these days. So yeah, I'll go ahead and wrap this up. Again, I am so thankful to both of you for your contributions and your time here in our webinar. I really, really appreciate that. And then for our folks watching or listening, I hope to see your contributions, and maybe you'll see these two friendly faces around our code base as well. Thank you both. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.